The Miami Dolphins offense was simply electric this season, which makes their falters down the stretch that much more painful, and also brings up an important question. Is Tua the man in Miami going forward? Welcome in. I'm Jesse McNamara, and you already know what we're here for. This is Point of View. As always, we appreciate your feedback and receiving comments like this one. I want to say that Atlanta is an interesting choice, and I recently created a video about their situation. Stay tuned until later to find out more. And as usual, stay tuned to the end of this video to see if you can answer today's trivia question. But to today's topic, is there another quarterback that has embattled more in his first few seasons in the NFL than Tua Tagovailoa? Tua started his career in Miami after a stellar career in Alabama, where he won national championship and was the offensive MVP for that game. He became the third highest QB selection by the Dolphins in their history, even higher than Dan the Man Marino. His time with the Dolphins had its ups and downs. However, he led the NFL in passer rating in 2022, and in yards this past season. The Dolphins' offense ran as hot as a summer night in South Beach as they finished the regular season first in total yards, passing yards, rushing touchdowns, and were second in points per game. With all those ups, there were definitely some downs. This season was the first time he was able to start every game as he was able to avoid injuries, mainly concussions. Although he played every game this year, the Dolphins seemingly fell apart at the end. Having a 2-game lead in their division in Week 16, Miami squandered the opportunity, losing 2 straight games, including the pseudo-division championship game to Buffalo, forcing them to go on the road for the first playoff game of Tua's career. Granted, the weather wasn't on the Dolphins' side, but Tua was simply abysmal. Tua completed 20 of 39 pass attempts for less than 200 yards with a touchdown and a pick as Miami fell to Kansas City by 3 scores. Now, why is this a big deal? Well, deal is the operative word in that sentence. Tua is entering the final year of his rookie contract, and a new deal is needed sooner rather than later. A deal that the Dolphins GM wants to get done to keep Tua in Miami for the long term.
We've had conversations, like we said, we wouldn't talk with, throughout the season in terms of contract stuff, but we've stayed in touch with his agent, had good conversations throughout the year. Never talking about money or anything, just good conversations about, where he is and the relationship with Mike and the team here and everything he's done. And, so the goal is to have him here long-term playing at a high level.
So it's all good, right? Just give Tua a deal and the team is all set. Wrong. If recent quarterback contract history has taught us anything, Dolphins fans should be prepared for things to get ugly. 2022 saw the Arizona Cardinals GM at the time, Steve Keim, essentially trash his team's franchise QB to try and gain leverage. Then this past season, we saw the Ravens practically willing to accept anything and everything for their franchise QB instead of paying him. He's currently the favorite to win his second MVP, by the way. And please, don't get me started on the Aaron Rodgers saga. I'm still recovering. Now, can I really compare Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray? Yes, and I will. Jackson may not be as prolific of a passer as Tua, but he is a winner. Prior to his contract, he was 45-16 and took home an MVP award. Now, Tua does sport a 32-19 record and way better passing numbers, but he finished 9th in MVP voting a season ago and arguably won't finish in the top 5 this season. Now, Kyler is a different story. As our producer can tell you, the Cardinals are not known for winning, and Murray's record demonstrates this. But what Kyler does possess is better passing numbers. Signing his contract after his 3rd year, Kyler played in 7 games fewer than Tua and 5 less starts, but averages more yards, the same completion percentage, and throws fewer interceptions. Tua does have more touchdowns, but only 11 more in that span, and has a way better offensive mind calling plays. Now, I don't think Chris Grier is nearly the shady character that Steve Keim is, and yes, Tua does average more games played per season than Lamar. But the word of warning is that if those situations got messy and ugly, it won't necessarily be a cakewalk in Miami. So yes, I do agree the Dolphins should sign Tua long term. I do believe he is the answer moving forward for everything I laid out here plus more. For instance, this offseason Tua picked up jiu-jitsu to train his body to avoid concussions, and he played the entire season. His win-loss record improved every season, something the other 2 aforementioned QBs can't say. And the time is right for the Dolphins to keep the status quo with 2 stud receivers on the outside, a young running back that can tear it up, and a head coach that's simply the love child of an evil genius and a footlocker. So in earnest, I hope a deal gets done, and I think it should. If there is any question Miami Dolphins GM Chris Grier, sign Tua long term. but it still might be a rough and rocky road getting there. Something Tua has become accustomed to in the NFL already, unfortunately. As I mentioned, be sure to check out my recent point of view where I delve into the situation in Atlanta. And finally, here's the answer to today's trivia question. Did you get it? I'm Jesse McNamara, and you've been watching Point of View.